It's almost Halloween, but you probably already knew that if you clicked on this video. What you didn't know is I'm about to show you the 10 best 3D prints for Halloween, no questions asked. I promise you won't find any better prints. I really can't promise that, but these are some really solid prints, I'm not gonna lie. We've got some decorations for your house, we've got some that are kind of practical, and we've got some that are quick, so we have all of the ingredients to make a really great Halloween 3D printing video. We even have multiple STL websites in this video, so it's really like the cherry on top of the cake that we just baked with all those ingredients. As always, all of the links are in the description for these prints. I also heard that subscribe button is down there somewhere if you want to help me hit 50k, but I just want you to enjoy the video. There are no categories in this video, there's really no rhyme or reason for any of this order, so let's just get started, why don't we? First, we need to address the elephant in the room. I know it looks really real, but this is actually 3D printed. I know there's no way you could have ever told that, but it's true. It's not real, okay? But it is our first print of the video, so let's go take a closer look at it. The first of our Halloween prints can be found on printables.com, and it is this bloody drip. This is the perfect Halloween decoration for any of those shelves, those cabinets, those computers, actually. It looks pretty good, and it's not even obstructing airflow. It's perfect. This awesome little decoration is the perfect candidate for that little scale button at the top of your slicer, so you can make it fit whatever surface you want it to fit. As long as you have the build space to print out a print that big or that small, then you're good to go. Or, I mean, you could just print out 2 or 3 of these, line them up next to each other, and then you got the whole entire shelf just dripping. Let's take a closer look at the details on these drips. I mean, look at this thing. It looks great. And this is exactly what it would look like if I took off this band-aid, so you're welcome. Our next print is also going to be on printables.com, and it is the Spinal Moon wall decoration. This is kind of a creepy print, to be honest with you, but that's exactly what you guys expected from a Halloween video, right? Of course it's not going to be roses and flowers in this one. We're talking about moons made out of spines here. The thing that really stands out to me about this print is that detail. You'll see when we get closer to this thing, the detail is pretty crazy, and if you pick the right filament like this one, it honestly barely looks 3D printed, which adds to the creepy factor even more. Just like the last print, this print is fully scalable to the entire size of your build plate. That is where you're going to be maxed out at, but it would make a really great centerpiece for that Halloween time. Or you could split it into multiple pieces, print this thing out huge, and put it in the center of your living room. But only for Halloween. You should probably definitely take it off after October 31st, because if you leave this up year round, you might get a couple of looks. So you might as well print it now and hang it on your wall now while it's cool and not weird. Let's move over to Maker World for a little bit and talk about this shadow pumpkin. Have you ever seen those paintings where it always looks like they're looking at you? No matter where you look, they're always looking directly at you. That's how I feel when I look at this print. It looks like it's always looking at you with those beady orange eyes. Maybe that's the point. It is Halloween after all. It's supposed to be kind of creepy. And this print succeeds at that for sure. I especially love the details and that little grin that this pumpkin has on its face. The creepy little smile is such a perfect contrast to the orange beady eyes that this thing has. I printed the main part of the pumpkin out of a carbon fiber PLA to give it that kind of rough and not shiny look, and I just used a standard orange PLA for those eyes. This is one of those prints that I'm probably going to scale up to be the entire build plate and then place it outside as an actual decoration. Although I might need to switch to some PETG because it's still like 100 degrees in Arizona, and I don't want that PLA to melt and make this guy look like a pumpkin that's been sitting out for way past its expiration date. Next up, we have a pretty practical print with these Spiderweb coasters. This is a pretty quick 3-hour and 3-play print on any of your printers, and it's quite simple. It's just a coaster for your drinks that's in the shape of a spiderweb. Perfect for the season. The thing that I love most about this print is that it comes with a base that you can store all 6 of those coasters in, and it actually displays them really well. These coasters are just the perfect size in terms of the actual size for the drinks that you can put on it, but also the thickness of it. It's just thick enough to where it keeps your drink off of the table, and you don't have to worry about any heat from your drink affecting whatever surface you put it on, but it's also thin enough to where it doesn't take up a ton of your filament when you're printing it out. It's really just the perfect combination of proportions here. This print would also be really cool if you change up the colors of the webs. You could do 3 of them in black and 3 of them in purple, or 2 in black, 2 in purple, and 2 in orange. Or 1 black, 1 purple, 1 orange, 1 blue, 1 yellow, and 1 green. Is green a Halloween color? I feel like it's a Halloween color. I would count that as one. This next print is definitely practical because it works. It's actually extremely loud, like my ears are ringing right now as I'm speaking, which makes it practical to me. It does an actual thing. This is the Jack Skellington death whistle. The creator said that it was made to play pranks on their friends in corn mazes, and let me tell you, this will do the trick. Especially if you're messing with somebody who's already a little bit scared of the corn maze situation, or they get scared easily, and you pull this thing out, you're definitely going to make them jump for sure. But honestly, that's about the only use for this thing. I can't really think of any other use besides a decoration. You could just throw this thing on your counter and just call it a day from there, or on your book. bookshelf maybe. It would look cool next to some good Halloween books. It is now time to head back to printables for my favorite print of the entire video. In fact, it's probably my favorite print of the entire month. I love this print. This is the Skellington hand book style. At first, when you're looking at this thing right off of the printer, it's kind of hard to tell what it is. Even when you remove those supports, it looks a little bit odd with those really long phalanges. But once you throw that skeleton hand onto the base, it becomes a little bit more obvious what it is, and it becomes extremely obvious what it is when you stack some books behind it, because that's exactly what it's meant for. This is, in my opinion, the most perfect Halloween print. It does a practical thing at holding the books, and it's a Halloween decoration. But it's one of those Halloween decorations that doesn't really stand out to you right away. You're only going to notice it if you're really looking at it. That's why I love this print. It also looks amazing, kind of like all these other bone prints in this video. Just look at the details on this thing. You can tell the creator really took their time in creating this thing. It's also kind of creepy how long the fingers are. Kind of makes you question if it's based off of a human hand or maybe something not so human after all. But once you put some of those pink and purple romance books behind this thing, it loses all of its scariness pretty quickly. Have you ever carved a pumpkin and thought, man, I really wish this pumpkin had some teeth right now? You probably haven't, but guess what? There's a 3D printed solution for you if you've ever thought that before. Because these are the pumpkin teeth, which is basically just dentures for your carved pumpkin. You can choose if you want to print out some human looking teeth, some shark teeth, or some vampire teeth. You can also scale them up or down to fit your size pumpkin. In fact, you need to scale them because when you import them to your favorite slicer, they are pretty huge. I had to scale them down quite a bit. But that's kind of the point, scale them down to fit your needs. And then just use the little toothpick looking end, shove that in your pumpkin, and bam, your pumpkin's got teeth. Your dreams have come true. This is what you've always wanted, right? Pumpkins with teeth. This is one of those prints that didn't necessarily solve a problem, but it created something really cool that wouldn't have been as easy to do without 3D printing. While we're talking about pumpkins, let's talk about some little pumpkins. No, seriously, they're not a wrapper or anything. That's literally what they're called. You can print out one of these little guys in only 28 minutes. Or you can print out an entire fleet of them in only a couple of hours. And that's exactly what I did. In fact, that's where I think that this print really stands out. You gotta print out a bunch of these things, but then you can throw them in a jar like I have in this case, or in a basket, or you could set them on a tablecloth as decoration. But these guys definitely shine in a large quantity. The details on this one also really impressed me because, I mean, look at how small this is. I mean, it barely fits on the tip of my finger, but it has some really good details to it, especially with a 0.4mm nozzle. If you wanted some extreme detail, you definitely could pop in that 0.2mm nozzle, but that print time is gonna skyrocket for, in my opinion, a pretty little return because these already look really good with the 0.4mm nozzle. There's also an option to print one of these guys really big if you so desire, but again, I think the draw to this one is because they're so small and you can print so many of them so quickly. While we're talking about pumpkins, let's talk about a not so scary, not so creepy, not so gross, and actually a cool, good looking pumpkin. This is simply named the Halloween pumpkin. This is the perfect print if you're on that more modern side of decorating. You want some fall vibes, but you don't want that creepy, scary, gross vibe, then this is the print for you. In fact, you could leave this thing up past Halloween. This is perfect for November, for those Thanksgiving parties, those Thanksgiving decorations. It fits the bill for all of that. There are multiple different sizes that the designer uploaded. This is the full size body and stem option with 2 colors. Don't worry though, you don't need an AMS because the stem is on a separate plate and it's actually printed out of PETG. I'm not quite sure why, but it is. This print is also tea light compatible if you want it to light up. Unfortunately, I did have a little bit of trouble taking this thing off the build plate. As you can see, the bottom layer just kind of stayed on the build plate and the rest of the print didn't. But that's kind of on me. I should have been a little bit more careful taking it off, so that's not a dig at the print whatsoever. In fact, you would never even know if I didn't tell you. So I probably should have just stayed quiet on that one. But you know I can't lie to you. I just had to tell you the truth. And finally, I thought this day would never ever come, especially on this channel. I printed out one of those fidget toys. But I only did this for you, I promise. I got a lot of requests for these things, so I thought, hey, why not throw this one in the video because it's perfect for Halloween and it actually makes a really cool noise. See what I'm saying? That's kind of fun, right? This is the Fidget Spiderweb twist. You've probably seen this design on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or maybe even YouTube because it's been pretty popular lately. It's actually pretty mesmerizing to look at, especially on camera. This one is just perfect for Halloween because it's a spiderweb and also it has some Halloween themed pins to it. I'm talking a spider, a ghost, a bat, and even a pumpkin if you desire. They're also super easy to swap out. In fact, all you have to do is just barely pop the one out and then pop the next one in. Guess what? That's it. It doesn't get more simple than that. Really, it doesn't at all. That's just way too easy. I printed the spiderweb with a white top and a red bottom. However, I think I probably should have done this with a white top and a black bottom because it would have just had more contrast to it. Maybe you should print it out like that and then let me know how it turns out in the comments. That's actually perfect. I'd love to hear from you. I'd actually love to hear from you about this entire video because that was the end of it right there. That was the last prints. So let me know what you think about these prints in the comments down below. Let me know if I should do this for all the holidays because I would really like to actually. Of course, if you did like this video, I would always appreciate a like and a subscribe if you really liked it, but I want you to subscribe because you want to subscribe, not because I'm telling you to. I'm a little old school like that. I prefer real subscribers that actually enjoy my content, not bots just to boost that number up, although 50,000 would be pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie to you. But as always, I just hope you had a good time watching this video. I hope you found some cool prints for you to print out and decorate your house this Halloween. And I hope that we can all give a huge thank you to the channel supporters who make all of this possible. I mean, look at that list. I've said it in multiple videos, but 2 columns? Are you kidding me? What's next? 3 columns? If you want to be a part of that list and see your name on screen, that join button is just right there, but you don't have to do any of that. All I hope you do is have a great rest of your day and promise you that I will see you later in a future video.